Hey guys, hope you're all well. Right, back on the GS for a bit. I have been plodding away with a few things on this just to keep it rolling in the background. You know, if you don't see certain projects appear on video, I'm normally still getting on with them. It's, well, I'll just try my best to catch as much as I can with the camera to show you guys, obviously. So, I chopped the seat hoop off. I actually reset all this part of the frame. I wasn't quite happy with it, so I reset all that. Now what I've got to figure out is how we're going to run the wires, because as you know, everything's in the tail unit, so I want to get everything down to here, all disappearing under the tank, and keep everything hidden. So I'm going to figure that out today, but I've got to change something. I'll let that sink in for a minute. No, it's nothing drastic. It's nothing cosmetic. We ain't going for yet another change. I'm 100% happy with the way that looks. As you can probably see, we'll have a closer look in a moment. I have done a return lip on the seat pan. And what I've done several layers of tape over the actual tail unit for this return to sit on, to hopefully give me enough gap for the seat material to just tuck under that lip and all bond round the back of it. But the gap's not big enough. In my opinion, it's gonna cause problems, so I have got to basically chop that off again and make it with a bigger gap. But I think I've got a really easy solution to do it. I could actually, well, I couldn't actually, because I've thought about that, tap it back out. Let's show you so you know what I mean. So we've got this lip here, and what I needed was a gap. You can see it's probably got a little bit of a gap, but what I need is a gap all the way around, so the seat material comes up, lips round and bonds on. It's got good enough surface area to bond it all on. The glues and everything that the trim centre use are absolutely phenomenal, and you know, they work very well, but there's certainly not enough gap there for the material to fold round. So yeah, we've got to take, excuse the wobbly camera, we've got to take this lip back off, and what I think I might do, I can afford to have it a bit shorter, is place it on top of this plate, and that should give me enough gap. Like I say, I did think about tapping it all out, but it's the shape where you start tapping it out round here to create a gap, and it'd actually start pulling it in another place because it's got nowhere to go. So it'll be easier if I've actually got a bigger gap to tap it in, because it will all squeeze in. It won't be like trying to tap it out. So I think that's what we'll do first, and then we'll see where we're going with the idea to hide all the wires. So you probably see what I mean a bit better now. So yeah, this lip here is going to come off. I even thought about perhaps making the holes oval, but dropping it down is going to ruin the bottom line. So it's got to stay put where it is, but we've got to increase that gap. So yeah, I think the simplest way is we slice that off, literally place it back on, and if the gap's too big, then that will be very easy to tap in till we've got something we're happy with. Oh, I did find my left hand glove in the clean-up look. The dog didn't have it. Obviously, as I said before, never found the brake cable, but I've had a new one delivered. that in place, and it looks like that's going to do the trick. If you're wondering why my sound's just gone funny, this is how stupid I am. I'd left the microphone on the hoodie I've just took off and it was hanging over there on the door. Oh dear. I really should have spent more time at school and got a brain. Never mind. Right, I'm going to tack this on and see how it looks. Right, what I've done is tacked it just on the sides, because I would still like to get a bit more of a gap at the top there. I think it's okay, but I'd rather have a little bit more. So literally the last welds are there and there, so all this is floating. So I should get enough stretch in that to basically hold the gap there with that screwdriver and put a tack on there. Yep, I've got a gap. That's better. That's better. Right, I'm not sure if I mentioned it before. When I've got everything laid out on this, as the idea what we're going to do to hide all the wires and everything, I'm actually going to go and get the seat base powder coated and take it to the girls at the trim centre and have it covered. And then at least doing it that way, I've still got everything around it still in sort of raw finish, and I can change anything else if need be, so that seat fits perfect. Right, that's that on and dressed up. What I'm going to do now, just the last job on that bit, obviously because we sort of hacked this off and reused it and stuff, I've got a very slight different thickness on the return, so I'm just going to mark that up and trim it back, because that is actually going to be the line of the seat cover, and if it's wonky, it's going to look wonky on when the back end goes on. It'll look terrible. So we'll trim that off and it'll look nice and square. Right, let's just drop that back end back on, see what it looks like. Ah, that's better. Loads better. I think we'll go with that. Right, back to the frame bit. As you can see, I've lost the hoop. We've got that one cross member in so far, which is basically a bit of box I cut into a U-channel. You see the back of it. Ooh. My steady camera work. So that is going to be also the back part where the seat bolts on, so I'll be drilling holes into this, and we'll have studs on the seat base that just drop in. But down here it needs another cross member, obviously to bolt the front part of the seat pan on. And I think also what I'm going to do It's just the tank needs raising up a tiny bit. It's probably weld a bracket onto the back of the tank here that also drops onto that cross member, so it'll all bolt up together with the seat pan. I think that's going to be the best way. And I think if I build it all up with steel washers, then when the bike's built we'll swap them all out for rubber washers. Yeah, I think that's the best way. Let's get the seat pan a minute. We'll drill holes in this. I'll get some domed heads if I haven't already got any. Weld them in to the inside. Obviously corresponding holes in this, so all that just drops on. Then we'll bolt it up from underneath. So, hiding the wires. So I think as we're going to have a nice flush base on this, obviously you're seeing we've got the number plate bracket that comes off there and that, so this will be nice and flush. I think if I make another pan under this seat, let's take that back off. Yeah, if I make another plate under there, the same size as the seat pan, and we get some little tabs where it can bolt up from underneath, we just, I don't know, maybe just 4 little dome heads from underneath. So the bottom is completely flush. With this tube being 25mm, that'll give us a 25mm cavity that we can lose all the wiring in. I think that'll work. And I can make some little clips in that cavity for the wiring to clip into. You know, I can either bring it down both sides or one side or down the middle or what. But we can decide that bit when we've got to that stage. Yeah, I think a cavity will work. That'll give me a huge area to lose all the wiring in. Then it all gathers up down here, goes off into one spot and straight up under the tank. Yeah, so what we've got so far, we've got a gap there, but the cross member goes across, so I may have to do some little cutouts in the cross member for the wiring to fit, the cross member that's attached to the frame. So we've got this all looking nice and neat. So if we can continue that look all the way down, and we literally, because I think that is quite unsightly, it's not very pretty, is it, to have that on show, I don't think. So if we cut a plate out to this shape, obviously we'll have to cut it out so the frame can get past it. And then we'll have a cross member at the front here. So it will literally hide everything. It'll hide the cross members, obviously hide the wiring, and then we'll end up with a nice flush plate that will look obviously the same as this, all the way down, and just finish it off into the shape of the tank. And all the wiring will be in that cavity then, and then just it'll be able to just disappear under the tank and up to where it's all got to go. Right, I've got this lay on a bit of plate, so I'm just going to basically draw around that, cut it out, and see what trimming we're going to do to get it round the frame. Right, I've got the sheet cut out. I've just had to, well, not just, an hour ago, I had to shoot out. This is my typical day and week. Not complaining. Tracy's gran managed to run over herself. Yeah. So we get a call And that's exactly what it was. I ran over myself. So yeah, just literally dropped everything and ran off. She's at the bowling club doing some raffle. Tracy's grand does absolutely loads for the village. She's knocking on, but she's a proper busybody, bless her. And anyway, she's left the handbrake off her car and it's rolled and ran her over. God. So it's gone over her foot and she's on some sort of medication, I can't remember the name, that really thins her blood out. And so she has a cut, so she bruises really easy, but as she breaks the skin, it bleeds and bleeds and bleeds and bleeds. So she is now off to the hospital, hopefully to get sorted out. I'm now back in the shed, hopefully to sort this out. Although I have got to go and put the battery back on my van later on before it gets dark, because I haven't used the van for a long time, and I went to it the other day and it's completely dead. So hopefully the battery will be all right. I'll see if it's took the charge. Anyway, let's get back on with this. So that's cut out to the basic shape. So just trying to think it through. Obviously we're going to have the coverings of the seat that are going to wrap round these lips and come back under to be bonded on. So I think, like I said earlier, I think when I've got all the fixing points done for the seat and the studs on it to bolt it all down, I'm going to send this off to the powder coaters and get it covered, because I really need the cover on to make sure I can get all the rest of it so it fits really nice. So this, I think, will end up, although I may be able to do the brackets for it now, this, I think, to make it nice and neat, will end up with these edges rolled round. So I've got a bit of material somewhere. Let's get a glove, 1 second, for a demonstration. Let's go for the right-hand glove. So when the seat covering is coming over the side like so, let's grab that. I want this so it fits inside it. Hold on.
Sorry.
Right, I know you're going to find it really hard to believe, but I've come up with a different plan. I'm going to go inboard of the frame rails, the 2 seat rails that go down. I don't think I really need to hide them. So this obviously drops over them. Then we've got the frame rails that run inside here like so, which I've allowed a big gap for the material to roll round. So I think if we leave the frame rails exposed, that's not going to look bad at all. And I'll make the tray so it drops inside the frame rails. That'll still keep the wiring protected and hidden. Yeah. Make it also fit round here nicely. And I might just add a little bit of shape there where it goes around the frame rail. I think that'll do it. Yeah, I think it'd be a better fit and easier, well, not easier to make, but it will look quite neat instead of bringing it right up to the seat material. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for that. Break out the cardboard. Yeah, so this will go inside the frame rails with a return lip. So basically it's like an under tray. And all the wiring will run in there. Oh, I hope that's my last idea. We'll see. Right, I'm going to get on with that, see if it comes out all right. And then I really have got to go and put the battery on the van before it gets dark. Right, template done. Let's go and have a look. So the metal that I'll be cutting will be slightly bigger than this to give me a material to do a return lip. I don't want to just put a flat piece in there. It'll look nicer with a nice sort of join against the tube with a radius and a lip coming up. And then I'll have a little bit of a cutout there, so the top of the shock mount is clear. So, only a slight problem. Well, it's not a problem, just a slight change I've got to do. As you can see, I need a longer piece because this was just going to follow the seat base. So that can go on my ever-growing pile of that may come in handy for another build pile. Right, let's get the sheet back out. Well, I've drawn around the cardboard template. Now I'm going to allow for the lip we're going to roll up. And that's the size I'll cut it at. To start with, I'm going to do the sides, then decide what I'm going to do around the shock. I might even roll it the other way. Not sure yet. That end needs leaving open for the wire to run through. So I think we can just cut that to that size. Yeah, I think so. Right, let's cut that out. Hopefully I won't change my mind again. Right, I think that is somewhere near where I want it to be. Right, as these corners here are a bit too sharp, I'm going to mark from underneath, oops, to give me an idea of the radius to follow in the tube. Grab me marker pen. It won't be the line I've got to follow, but it'll give me an idea of that radius. Oops. Yeah, my line's going to look a bit messy, but we'll sort of know what we're doing, I think. Yeah, I think I can work something out from that. Which line shall I choose, eh? Oh, God, useless. Right, moving on a little bit. I've cut these out. These are just some plates I'd knocking around. I thought, I'll tell you what, if I cut these with that shape, that'll give me something to form these around. As you can see, there's a couple of little slices in them where I changed my mind a couple of times. So if I clamp that between these, I'll sandwich the sheet between them. Although there wasn't long enough, but I can move them down and back that way to do that bit. It should help me give these near enough a perfect shape. I'll do one side, then flick it over and do the other side. Then if I get it slightly off, like it's too wide to drop in the frame, I can at least clamp these further back and just sort of drive it in a bit more. Hopefully we'll get it right first time. I think that'll work like that. So as you can see, I've got it clamped between two of these 12mm plates. I mean, you can run the risk of, like, if you want to shape something this way, of not sandwiching it between two plates, but what you could end up having, looking at it, is obviously section on. I want just a nice fold like so. Without sandwiching it, you can end up with it creeping up on the edges first, like that, and it can get a bit messy. Obviously with clamping it between these two, it'll stop that happening. Right, I think we'll go for a little hammer. And just slowly and patiently work it over, and you'll probably notice I'm hitting the corner of the material, not smacking it straight on, and I'll try and continue with it on the corner, and that'll save me bruising any of the surface. Right, I want a piece of metal now just to put across the surface. This little bit of plate will do, and it'll stop me bruising it then. You notice I'm not going right to the end because I've got this overlap here. I shall put the material back a bit to hammer that in, because if I go and do that, that very end will misshape, like I was showing you on that little scribble. I think that's about it. So we'll take it out of the vise, I'll quickly unclamp it, we'll move it that way and finish that bit, and we'll move it that way and finish that bit. Right, that's got the other side clamped up. I think I'm about there. I've done a few checks. Hopefully it's going to be alright, and we'll end up with a little bit of a gap each side. If not, we'll get stuck in and correct it. get an idea of how it's going to go. Obviously I've still got to do a bit of trimming around this cross member and this plate so everything fits into place. Obviously that will go under there like so. And that I'll hide all the wiring, because obviously the seat pan sits on top of this tube, so we literally have got a 25mm cavity that we can send everything down, and it'll keep it all safe away from all the obviously splashing off the back wheel and everything. Could probably also put a rubber bead down this lip as well that will obviously seal it up properly. I think I'll do that actually, so that'll work out just fine. I'm happy with that. What I'm going to do now, just before I finish, is just dress up the edges and make it all look nice and tidy. There you go, it's the edges tidied up and I haven't touched the corners. Right, let's just give it a bit of a mop on the wheel. Right, that's all that cleaned up. It's about there. We're just going to trim this return, like the depth of it, so it's the same all the way along. And that's about sorted. And like I say, I might put a bit of a return on that coming down. I think I've got an idea for that actually. It'll look alright from the side. But we'll see about that when we next get on this. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that's all going to slot well together. And I say, it makes the under tray look good. Well, that is the under tray, but it makes the underneath the seat look better and solves the problem of hiding all the wiring. And anything else, I've got a 25mm cavity there, so if there's anything else to hide, I could put it in there if it'll fit. I think that'll do. I'm absolutely shattered. It's been one of them days. Thank you to everybody who's purchased a bullet keyring and a sticker. Much appreciated. I think Tracy's on the last few now, sending them all out. I have got some left, but like I say, after these, that is it. That'll be it, unless I go and find another box somewhere. But I think that is all I've got left. So I know the little Magnum ones, I think I've got about 19 left that I'm going to relist later on. So yeah, I've only got about 19 of them. I don't know how many I've got left of the 223. Well, that's the 223 and the 762, but there's not a great deal. So if you want one, be quick, so they will run out. They'll definitely run out. Anyway, thank you all so much for everybody. All gets thrown into this to keep the wheels rolling on the old shed, and everything we're doing here all helps contribute to go towards that and keeps it all going. So really appreciate that. Anyway, that'll do. A quick clean up, drag all the bikes in and go and put my feet up. Cheers for watching, guys. Take care.